Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, what's up? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and do not forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I post new videos every week. So we are continuing the gel series in part 2 today, and we're going to be talking about the supplies you need to do gel enhancements, who you would service these services to, who can we offer gel to, and I'm going to be showing you how to do a basic application in a few different ways. If you happen to miss part 1 where I'm talking about all the things about gel 101, introductory to gel, I will leave a link above and you can go check that out. But for right now, let's get into part 2 right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is who can be serviced with gel enhancements. So a lot of you techs out there, again, if you're somebody that hasn't done gel, then obviously you're doing acrylics or gel manicure. So can we offer these same clients? Who do we seek out to switch over to? So there's a couple things that I just want to go over with you into how we can transition our clients into gel or introduce them to gel. So one way to know when we can start to use UV gel is if you have a client that has acrylic nails and for whatever reason, and you might, I can't really explain it, but if you're a tech, you kind of get it, that they just always are breaking their nails. Something's always happening. You just have those people. It's nothing that you're doing wrong as a tech. It's not the length, it's not how long they can soak. You can do everything right, everything can go right, but their nails just always like lift a little or break a little. So what I did was when I started doing UV gels, I switched those people over because gels tend to adhere better to the nail for certain people. Some people, gel works amazingly. Some people, acrylic works amazingly. Some people, both work amazingly. So I wanted to just try my hand at switching them over to gels, do a full set, see how your nails take to that. Maybe that would be better for you. So again, there's a myth that maybe gels aren't as hard or as durable as acrylic, but they are. They're just as strong and durable. Gels can actually even be a little bit more flexible in a way that people describe it as it doesn't feel as tight when they do the full set. So sometimes the flexibility can benefit them and their nails as well. The second type of client that I would switch over to gels or introduce gels is simply somebody that's allergic to acrylic. If you have people that are reaching out to you saying, I show signs of itching around the cuticle, redness, swelling, pain of the nail plate, peeling, all these are signs that they are allergic to usually an ingredient or maybe just the monomer and polymer powder system. So maybe something's going on with that. So if they are allergic and you start to see signs, immediately you can try to switch them over. If that doesn't work, then it's probably a common ingredient in both. If not, maybe it's just one of something in your acrylic enhancements that's making them break out. But these are people that we would want to switch over to UV gels if they show any signs of being allergic to acrylic nails. If you want to know more information about how to identify if your client is going through an allergic reaction and tips that you can take to kind of maybe help them out or figure out what they're allergic to, I will leave a link above where I did this in-depth study with one of my clients who's very, very allergic to all things, and we were trying to figure out what she was allergic to. So again, that video is very educational. It helped me out in understanding exactly what's going on, and it will kind of help you identify and fix the problem when you have a very sensitive and allergic client. Another type of client that you would want to maybe switch over to UV gels is clients that have very flat nails. It is said to believe that UV gels build and they're able to sculpt a little bit better. You can structure that nail a little bit better with gels as opposed to acrylic. So again, you might want to switch that person over or introduce gels if you have a client that has really, really flat nail plates. So now let's talk about some basic supplies. So if you are doing UV gel enhancements, there's a few things that you might need to invest in. Obviously, your UV or LED light is going to be the first thing. It is very different than doing a gel manicure, as we need a more powerful light, and certain functions that come on these UV LED lights will help your UV gel enhancements cure properly and thoroughly and make sure that you don't have any lifting, cracking, breaking, or any type of surface breakdown. So we want to make sure that we are investing in a good light. Again, gels are priced a little bit more higher than acrylic nails. Side note, I don't think I added that in this video, but pricing of gels versus acrylics is a little bit more because the products cost a little bit more. It takes more time. So if you do add this on, we cannot use a cheapy $20, $30 lamp. It will work, but I wouldn't go there. I would invest a little bit more into kind of a brand. Ideally, you want to work with a brand that offers gel because, again, companies make their things to work together. So if, for example, when I started doing gels, I don't remember if I had the Young Nails machine or I bought it because I knew. But Young Nails makes their machine in certain functions because they offer gel enhancements. So features that we want to look for is if it has like a low mode, we have a timer, we have certain functions, we have the mirror inside. If you want a little bit more information on the different functions and what to look for in purchasing a UV gel machine, I will leave a link above and you can check that out. I'm not going to get into full detail because I broke everything down from the minis to the big boys and everything in that video on how to pick a UV LED light machine. So I'll leave a link above and you can go check that out. The second thing that we're going to need is some type of primer or bonder. Again, in the last video, I showed you two different types. IBD, if you buy a system, they have a bonder. Your Young Nails Protein Bond would suffice as well. I would make sure that it's a good bonder. We have also Valentino, I've heard is very good. I've never used it, but I've heard that that is a good bonder as well. Something along the lines of Mia Secret. It depends. If your client is a lifter or was a lifter with acrylic, I would try to go a little bit stronger, a little bit more better quality because that's kind of like standard. I'm not knocking Mia Secret. Don't trust me, I love it. I think if you're a beginner tech, you should start with Mia Secret. But as you become a little bit more busy, a little bit more advanced, we want to just take it up a notch in our product. So I would maybe try it and then see how lifting and stuff works. But again, just investing in a good primer or bonder for the nails. Something else that you're going to need is a cleansing solution. All UV gels cure with a inhibition layer. That is a sticky, tacky layer that you will feel on the nail once it is done curing underneath the machine. The only way to get rid of this is to cleanse the nail. So I use Swipe from Young Nails, which is basically, I don't know, something in alcohol. That's what it comes down to, and some blue color. But I use Swipe from Young Nails because I already use that, so that is already on my table, so I didn't have to invest in something else. You can just use some regular old alcohol though. I would highly suggest using 90% alcohol, which could be a little bit more trickier to find in the regular drugstores. 70%, it will do, 90% is a little bit better. And if you use both, you will see the difference in how it kind of cleanses the nail. I would definitely go to 90%. Or you can purchase a cleansing solution from the manufacturer, whoever you choose to work with in using their UV gel system. Another important thing that you're going to need is a brush. Gel brushes differ very much so in acrylic brushes as far as the size and the shape and how you're going to be performing your service. Again, a brush to a nail tech is like a purse to a woman. It is a personal thing. It is what works best for you. We can always look at other people, take their recommendations and suggestions, but you have to kind of figure out what is the best brush for you. I will show you the brushes that I use in a minute when I show you my demonstration, but I started out just kind of on Amazon and just saying I need a gel brush. I did want to make sure it said gel brush. I didn't want to go by what I saw the shape look like in other gel tutorials that I watched. I wanted something that was said for gel. So I will show you that in a minute, but something basically that is normally used is a more rounded oval flat brush, or sometimes it can be like oval and have like a little peak to it if you are sculpting. Again, if you search gel brushes, you will see what comes up, but they are very different than acrylic brushes. So we want to make sure that we're try something simple, try something affordable, see how it works. If it doesn't work and you feel that maybe I can go a little bit of this or that, then just simply switch it out. But you're going to definitely need to invest in a good brush if you're going to be doing these enhancements. Okay, so now that we went over all the supplies, let's get into the demonstration. I'm going to be showing you how to do the standard gel application. I'm going to be showing you 1 on a tip and 2 on a form using 3 different types of gel that I previously spoke about. So we're going to be using Builder Gel, the Sculptor, and the Precision Tube, and the Brush On Gel. So let's get into that right now. Okay, so let's get into this application. I have one that I'm gonna do at a tip and then two that I'll do at a form. So just some basic supplies. Again, I have this brush that I use. I got this from Gelish. This is a number 6 gel oval brush. If a brush is specified for gel, it's best. It's usually more of a flat brush. It's usually more rounded. This is another brush that I'll leave a link below, and I got this from Amazon. I love this from when I'm doing nail art and when I'm doing my gel base. Is very flat. And then if I am sculpting, I can use a brush like this. This one is from Madame Glam, I believe. It's a dual-sided brush. Something, again, that you want is just flat and kind of oval on the edges. But ideally, I use these two brushes for a base and then for my application. And then I have some bonder that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be showing how to do the brush on gel. And then we're going to do one with the precision tube, and then I will do one with the pink build gel in a pot, and we're going to just base everything. So first and foremost, what we want to begin to do is, like I said, we're going to start with our base. I always like to just keep a paper towel here so I can wipe my brushes off. I usually have a little bit of acetone so I can clean my brushes in between so I don't have sticky residue. And I'm going to just base all of my nails. So everything's cleaned and everything. Let's open this up. Let's put some bonder on that so we make sure we have some good adhesion. Again, very sparingly. We're going to just place gel on the 3 nails. And then what you're gonna do, the way we pick up gel is we do it in a scooping motion. So we never want to dip our hand and we're not tapping like it's acrylic. So I'm going to just scoop. It's best to pull it from the side because you see it could be very stringy. So we just want to pull a little bit, and I usually work from the sides, even if you wanted to tilt it and let it run to the side a little bit, but I like to scoop it and pull it up. So for base, we want to, again, make sure that we have most of our product on one side of the brush. And I'm just gonna paint exactly like I do with polish. This is just a nice thin base layer that's gonna protect the nail. So I'm gonna do this for all 3 fingers. It's your choice if you want to base. If you're using a nail form, you can put the nail form on and then base with the form. That's easier, so you're not touching it afterwards. It depends on the person, it depends on the situation. Sometimes I feel like the forms get messed up if people are going in and out the machine and there's nothing on it. So sometimes I like to base and then I'll just carefully place the form on because I know how people are with inside the UV machine with the sticker. So I'm gonna base this and then kind of wipe the excess off. And again, I always like to just wipe my brush in between layers. So now I'm going to go ahead and cure that. We want to always cure for 1 minute. Okay, so now that that's cured, so just so you know, what I like to do is I'll base all 5 fingers, put the hand in, do the second hand, put that hand in the machine. Then how I work is pinky in machine, next hand, pinky in the machine, ring in the machine. I go from hand to hand because the whole point is that we need 2 whole minutes, proper curing time in order for gel to cure. So instead of doing 1 finger cure for 10 minutes, that's time consuming. And I don't like to do 1 whole hand because when I'm on this thumb, gel likes to run and it likes to move. So I don't really like to do 1 whole hand. I do 1 hand because think about it. If I put this in, by the time I do the next, by the time I do this, by the time I do this, by the time I get to the thumb, this has gotten 2 minutes. And then when I'm finally done with this thumb and it goes in and I do the next thumb, that goes in the machine, I'll have them put this whole hand back in for another minute because remember, this is the only one that's gonna get shortchanged sometime. So we wanna make sure that this gets 2 minutes. So that's how we work with gel. 1 finger at a time, simultaneously with both hands. So now that I have my base coat on, I'm gonna put my nail forms on. If I do a full set, I ideally like to work with forms with gel. I don't know, I just feel like it's a little bit easier to build. So that's a preference. I do use a tip, but I do like the forms a little bit better. So I'm gonna work with one finger at a time because this hand will tend to move. So make sure this is nice and snug. Again, gel likes to run, so we want it nice and snug. So let's start with the traditional pot. So where's my pink build? Let's grab this pink build. I'm gonna open this guy up. So now I'm gonna go in with my actual gel applicator brush. So what I like to do, again, we are going to scoop. I like to make sure my brush is a little bit worked in, and I'm going to scoop a little bit of gel. We wanna scoop a blob. You can kind of see what I'm grabbing. Again, pulling it toward the end, the edge, up. And if you just kind of circle, you'll lose the dragging. And I'm going to place it, I like to start on the free edge because I want that connection, and I also want to be able to lose the nail form. So I'm going to take a big blob, drag it, and what I'm gonna do is just place my ball down, but with the end, the point of my thing, I'm gonna move in slow circles. This is how we move gel. It's all, if I turn it to the side, you can see that connection is all on the tip. So I'm not gonna drop it. The thing with gels, you have to remember, it is not acrylic. With acrylic, we're always used to working with beads, and we drop the beads and we work it. Gel is different in a sense where we're gonna put it on our brush and we have to move it in small circles to get it where we want it to go. We're not brushing with our brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and circles just to get it where I need it to go. And I'm gonna push it, small circles. And then when you kind of have it done, you kind of just wanna do a little circle, a little, I can't explain it, that's the only word that I could use to explain it, a little something, something to kind of release it. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. I ideally like to try to do it all in one shot because again, it's not like acrylic, and to add on to it, it might move it. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. Again, as soon as I place the tip down, I start circles. And you can see these circles, you can kind of see what I'm doing. You see my brush is not even touching it. My brush is kind of not even near it, and I'm moving it in small circles. So the best advice I could give to you as a new tech playing around with gel is don't worry about perfection. Again, with acrylic, we're trying to work on perfect application, and I'll show you why in a bit, why it doesn't really matter with gel. So I just want to make that connection. Again, I'm going to push my gel here. I want to make that connection on the free edge. Make sure on the side I have it. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to wipe my brush. I don't like it to sit in my brush. Let's move this out the way. And then I'm gonna cure this for 2 minutes. Okay, so now that that's cured, what I like to do is more important. So remember, while this was in the machine, if I'm working on a client, I would be working on the other hand. That hand goes in, now this hand comes out. I like to release because the thing is, it was underneath this nail form. We want to make sure this is fully cured. That's why I like to start with the free edge. Yes, it looks kind of wonky and crazy. I don't care. I have my free edge, I have a shape, and again, we are building. So do not try to get it. It is not acrylic. It's not going to get it. That's the thing. Gel takes time. You have to build and sculpt it. So again, I'm going to go in now with like a big blob. I'm going to try to get as much as I can on here. Pull it. Do a little circle, release it from the pot, place this, make that connection. You see from the side, I make that connection, but my brush is not near it. And I'm just going to go in small circles and work it left to right. Small circles. If you need to push it, you kind of just like push it. You are basically, if you think about it, like hovering over the gel. You're floating it. So it takes a little bit. If you are trained to do acrylic, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's very different. And it took me a long time to realize this is not an acrylic brush. This is not acrylic powder that's in my hand. This is not an average bead. I have to work this different. You also cannot rush it. That's the one thing. Somebody books a gel appointment with you, it takes time. So book accordingly, because you cannot just say, okay, even if you are a fast nail tech, this has to cure. This has to be built. I can't rush this process. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this. You see how my brush is just kind of floating it to kind of fill this in. Again, if you catch like an air bubble, I don't know if you can see that on camera, I'll just float my brush over it and try to get rid of any air pockets I see. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab another bead, because I'm just doing it in small increments. This is not a big brush. I guess someone that's more skilled could pick up more if you have a bigger brush. And I'm gonna float it. And again, that's gonna help me create that free edge. I was missing a little here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just do small circles, make that connection between the free edge I created and this guy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cure that. I'm not gonna rush it. I'm not gonna try to make it any bigger than that. So right now, that's the second layer. So let's go ahead and cure that for 2 minutes. Okay, so now that that's come out the machine, I'm gonna look at it from the side. Again, we're not gonna talk about how crazy it looks. So let me just show you what this looks like, and you can see from the side, yes, it looks crazy. We got this dangling over here. I'm not worried about that. What I'm looking at is the top to make sure I have full coverage. So what I'm gonna do is one more layer just to make sure. So I'm gonna repeat that whole process all over again with my first bead by the cuticle, and I'm just gonna work it circles. As you get better, you could get faster with it and floating it. So I wanna make sure we have full coverage. This is hence the sculpting. All I want to do is make sure that this is built up. Okay, that's good enough for me. Again, it looks crazy, but you'll see why. It doesn't matter in a minute. So I'm going to cure this for 2 minutes again. Okay, so now that this is cured again, I know it looks crazy, but we want to make sure we look at it from the side, and you can see that I have some coverage and I have an even layer. We can fix all this. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to move on to this one. So we're going to put a nail form on this one. And for this one, I'm going to be using the precision tube. So again, we're going to make sure we have this on nice and snug. Nice and snug. And so with the precision tube, it's made that you can be able to do your application just with the tube. However, I like to use my brush sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I like to use my brush. I got used to it. And I feel like for me, as somebody, especially in the beginning, this was too much coming out for me to handle. So it was easier for me to place a blob and work it with my brush, but it's made to use it with this. So I'll just show you a little bit of both. So let me fix this guy. This is why I like to make the connection first, so I can get rid of this nail form. So same procedure. I'm gonna take a blob. I'm gonna make sure we have it all the way to the edge. And same thing, but again, let's pretend that we're gonna just use the brush. This is so much easier. You have a little bit more control because you can see the way that it's coming out. So I'm just gonna make a small ball. And I'm just going to work this. So again, I'm just gonna make this connection
I'm not worried about what it looks like. I want it on the free edge and I want it on the nail form. I don't care about the shape. I'm just trying to build it a little bit and make that connection. So it is a little runny. If it does get runny, what I'll do is I'll take an orange wood stick and kind of brush it. This is why I like the brush though, because the brush would do this for me. And I'm gonna lose this form anyway, so I don't really care about what's happening with that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cure this really quickly. Okay, so now that this one's cured, now I'm going to, again, just release it. And we wanna be very gentle with it because, you know, it didn't cure from under, it only cured from the top. So you can see this looks crazy. Let's get rid of that part. Okay. This looks crazy. I don't care about it. We're gonna fix it. So now I'm gonna take the rest of my tube and I'm gonna place a big blob because we can really work with this. And I'm gonna just do small circles with the tube and place it all over the whole nail. We're gonna flood the cuticle, small circles. And another thing is with gel, I think as a beginner, you actually underestimate how much gel you need to build. Like I was not even putting closely enough, and then I watched a video and I saw the big glob that somebody was using and I was like, oh wow, that's how much gel I'm supposed to be using? So you actually wanna put enough. Remember, we have to build the whole nail. So this actually, you see how much is coming out and it's really like getting the job done for me. Make sure I get the sides. And I'm still floating it while using the tube. The tube is really kind of helpful in that way. It's less mess too, because you see the pot, it could be a little sticky. I'm not so worried about the shape. And then I'm just, usually when I want to end it, you saw how I just dragged it. So let's say I want to do like this, and I'll just end it at some point. I can always fix the shape, but I want to just like lose that connection. So I'll just go ahead and kind of drag it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cure this really quickly. Okay, so now that this is done, it obviously needs more. We can take a look at it. You can see from this angle, it has this dent. You could see it needs more gel. So I just wanna take a minute and point out that because we put so much gel, the heat spike in the UV machine for someone is gonna be very intense. It's going to very much burn them. So what we could do is, let's say this was my real machine, my big machine. I can actually start the curing process from here. So in order to help with that huge heat spike, this is where having a low mode, if you ever notice on your UV or LED machine, it has a low mode. This is where that comes in. We can start them at low mode and you can actually cure, because these machines are so powerful, from outside the machine. So sometimes I'll have them start, it'll slow down the burning process, and then I'll have them put their hand underneath it after like maybe 30, 45 seconds, or even the whole minute, the whole first round. I'll have them start outside the machine. They do eventually need to go inside to get the direct light from the UV or LED machine, but they can start all the way out here and it will still cure that nail. Okay, so now I'm gonna just show you what I would do normally with using like my brush. So what I would do normally, to be honest, I like to use my brush, like I said. So I'll place a big ball. Let's say I wanna get some right here. I'll do a big ball, let it go in with my brush and work it. So I like the combination of the two because it gives me a lot of gel on the nail to work with, but again, I have a little bit more control with the smaller brush. The big brush could be, the big tube, it could be a lot, especially in the beginning. So we wanna make sure like we have this going on. And I'm gonna build this up right here. Again, I'm not really worried about the shape right now. I'm worried about the building of it. Yes, I am brushing it down because I have enough gel at the base that I just want to kind of like flood that. That's all that I really care about. I don't really, so I want to just build it up. And that is going to give me like a nice little apex. So I just want to be able to, again, it looks crazy. Trust me, guys, trust me, trust the method, you'll see. So now that that's on there, I'm going to cure that for another 2 minutes. Okay, so now that that's done, you can take a look at this one. You can see it from the side. Yes, it looks crazy, but okay, we're moving on. So then we have this one that has the tip. I got a little bit of dust on it from touching it, so I'm just gonna wipe this off because I got a little dust on it. So for this one, I'm gonna be using the brush on. So this is from Born Pretty. There's many companies that make brush on gel. It might be a little low because I was using this one a lot. So, you know, you gotta just hold it to the side. We know how that is when gel's running out. So I'm gonna pick it up with my brush. So this is the same consistency. So we wanna make sure we kind of get it all off, what I like to do. And then, because it's brush on gel, so we're not really brushing it per se, I do find that I find myself doing small circles, because if I went like this, and it's made to do this, but time-wise, it could take a little bit longer. But you see how simple this is. Literally brushing it on. However, I feel like it would take 3 coats of this if I was doing it like this. So another way you can do it if you were trying to speed up time, or once you play with it a little bit, is use this brush as your kind of gel brush. So you can still flood if you see what I'm doing. I'm still gonna flood and build up. But if it's too much for you and you're like, you know what, I just want to paint it on, it works well, let's just brush this on. And don't sleep on the brush on gel. You're gonna get a lot of durability from this. Someone can do a whole full set. It looks so thin compared to the other ones, but it is durable. So this one, my favorite method. Let's wipe the cuticle with an orange wood stick. I don't do stuff with my nail because I'm clumsy, so I always use orange wood stick. And I'm gonna cure this for 2 minutes. Okay, so after some time, you see that it's on, it's set. With this one, I can do all 5 fingers and cure. Because it's so thin and it brushes on, you can do 5 fingers. You don't have to do what I just said before with each finger. And then we're going to take this second coat and just brush it on. And guys, if you are new, definitely want to recommend, and I paint it like if I'm painting gel, but I want it super thick, that's when I'm gonna go in a little bit heavier with that second coat to get more coverage. So you see how much I have on my brush. I'm gonna go in heavy with the second coat. If I need an area, then I will just start to circle and flood it. But 2 coats is good. Clean up the cuticle. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cure this for another 2 minutes. Okay, so now that this is done and off, you can see that this is pretty good. I'm gonna show you from this angle. If you can kind of see how thick it is a little bit. It doesn't really need a 3rd coat. If you felt some type of way, you can do it. I usually do 2 heavy coats instead of that 1 thin one in the beginning. 2 coats is really all you need. And again, I've been working with this brand and this bottle, so I can't vouch for every company and how they have their building gel, but 2 heavy coats are fine. So now that we have the 3 that are done, gel always dries with the inhibition layer. So this is that sticky layer. I love when people say, I don't think my nails are dry. And you're like, no, I gotta wipe it. So I'm gonna go in with some Swipe. You can use alcohol. I do use Swipe. And we just wanna remove that inhibition layer. So once you wipe it, it will go away. I want to get from underneath, especially with the nail form ones, because it will be a little sticky maybe under. And just wipe it. Get rid of all that. So the reason why I love gel so much is the fact that it files so easy. Like, it's unreal how nice it files. with the e-file and how easy. Like, you think like, oh my God, this is gonna take me forever. If this was an acrylic nail, this would take me forever to file. It's so easy with gel. So let's start with this guy. I had this excess. I'm gonna cut that right off, right? I can cut this. Again, this is a method that I'm showing you. This is how I learned gel. I'm no master at gel, but I'm gonna teach you how I taught myself. I'm gonna cut the excess off. You can file it, but why? It's a waste of time. So I'm gonna go in with 100, 180 file, and I'm just gonna go ahead and file. And we can see how quickly, like you can see even the dust particles for gel are more dusty instead of chunky like acrylic. It's more fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and just file this. I can even file the top. Make sure we look at our seeker. We have a form on, so we do need an e-file to just get underneath there. Boom. But do you see how quick that was? That was 30 seconds. And now it looks like a nail. I know you doubted me and you thought that it wasn't going to look like a nail or it was going to take forever, but it really doesn't. Same thing with this one. Just going to file it off. And you see how it it's powdery. It comes off so easy. You're not breaking your back when you file gel. And file the tops. I always like to do a little hand file. I hand file everybody. I hand file and then I e-file. That's just how I do it. I have more control over where and what I'm filing. Again, and I'm gonna go on my e-file. This is just to make my shape and to dust the top. I'm not stressed about anything else. We're gonna go on with the e-file. Same thing with this. This guy needs a little less filing because he didn't get all wonky and crazy like the other ones. A little bit, because remember this one is not as thick. It's not that much that needs to be done. So we wanna make sure we don't lose it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go on with my e-file. You guys know I like a carbon bit, so I have a medium carbon bit that I'll use. And the thing is with gel, again, because it files so easy, we don't need to be that aggressive. It comes off very quickly, so you want to be very careful in filing. I'm gonna get underneath the nail because we had that nail form on. I can fix up my sides. Again, so we have this one, and we have this guy. I always turn it to the side. gonna make sure we get everything from under. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead with this one. Okay, so you see how the dust is like, it's super fine, it's different. It's different, it files very easy. So now I'm gonna go in and with my little cone shaped carbon bit, and I'm going to go underneath the nails for the ones that we have the nail form on, because you can see they need a little bit of work. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get my C-curve, make sure I file this so that it's nice and flat. Okay, so you see this. So now you can see what this looks like under, and then we could just refine the shape. Okay, now that that's filed, let's go ahead with a buffer and just buff these out to smooth it out. Okay, so let's wipe that off so you can see that. Okay, let's add a little oil. And then we have the 3 nails that we did, and you can see it from this angle. I'll show them to you from the side. So we can see this one is a little bit more on the flatter side. This one ended up filing out. This one filed out. And we can see it from this angle how thin they all are and underneath. So you can see we have the 3 different methods. So the building, the precision tube, and the builder gel in a bottle.
Okay, so now that I've shown you how to do the standard application, again, there's so many other tutorials out there. This was my take on it. It was easier for me to kind of work on just building the nail and kind of just getting the gel on the nail and filing. And I've learned that filing gel is so much more easier. So whereas acrylic, I always kind of recommend perfect your application and file it. But because I'm not filing as much with gels, I find that just kind of making sure that gel is on there and it's built up, and I'll fix it later. That's my motto with gel, is totally opposite. And I had to kind of play around with the different products and methods and techniques that I saw, that I experienced. So you have to just take this and practice on your own, but it is very simple to do and very easy to do once you actually get the hang of it. Next time for part 3, we're going to be doing my favorite part. We're going to be doing all types of nail art. All the different things that we can do nail art wise with gel that I have started to learn and practice with over the past couple of years. And honestly, I have to say, I love designing with gel more than acrylic, especially encapsulated nails. Oh my God, because it files so easy and I can get the nail nice and thin. Oh, I just love it. We're gonna talk about that. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned next week where we're gonna be talking about all things nail art with gel. I will see you then. Bye.